And like everyone in the business world is like, she's dumb. And I'm
you
like,
can't achieve anything unless you know what you're trying to achieve. All right. Hello to all you fellow experiencers out there, and welcome to the Spirited Body Podcast. This is the podcast about activating and living from your spirit in your daily actions and experiences. My guides want to show you how to interpret your life through the lens of your highest self so it can be easier, joyful, and satisfying. After all, we are all just spirits in a physical body. I'm James. I'm your host. I'm a psychic, medium. I've been channeling my guides for about 10 years now, and this podcast came about because a group called the Council of Light contacted me one day during a meditation and said, we've got a lot of information we want you to share, and it has been a process over a number of years of decoding it and sharing it and understanding what I need to do with it, and so that's what led to this podcast. I'm here with my amazing co-host, Katie.
hello. I am not a psychic, as a reminder for all those who are listening.
But your stories, your questions are appreciated and valued. I just want to say, please out there, don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, get in touch with us. Let us know your stories, your questions at The Spirited Body on Instagram, or you can email me at james@thespiritedbody.com.
Slip into those DMs, everyone.
Please. So this week, the topic is losing your way. This is the next one. To remind everybody, the theme this season has been reducing conflict. And I want to make sure people understand it's not just about reducing conflict with other people. It's reducing conflict within yourself. It's with reducing conflict in the whole world.
Well, don't you think all the conflict with others and conflict in the world is really just conflict with self?
Yes.
Okay. Curious about that.
The reflection of what's going on. And everything that happens internally is reflected in our outer world and our perception of that outer world. I mean, our reality is determined by our perception.
It's like you can have one circumstance that you would view as like completely different than me. And it's the same exact circumstance. It's just subject to your own internal world.
Exactly right. Which is why communication is so important. And we love doing it so much.
I've been having that thought a lot lately around Byron Katie talks about like how the only time what suffering is just confusion, right?
Completely.
And like, do you ever have those moments where something doesn't go your way and then time goes by and then you go, oh shit, I'm so glad it didn't go my way. I see why it happened that way. It's like, I feel like that's always happening. And when we're upset that something's not going how we want, I feel like it's just because we're confused because we haven't quite understood why it's going that way yet.
Yeah, I think there's a number of reasons why we suffer because we don't understand what's happening. And it has to do with our expectation of the way things are supposed to go. And the other piece of that is, as you're talking about it, what it brings up in me is there are so many possible outcomes. How can we think that there's one right one for us, or that we've narrowed down an infinite number of outcomes to one, and that it's the only one that's going to be good, right, correct? There's just no way to do that.
There's no way.
There's no way. And so when we look at an outcome, it really should be about, oh, okay, that's the outcome, because you have no idea what it's going to lead to. None. Zero. There's too many possibilities.
That's crazy. I asked Tyler this morning. Out of every single thing there is to know in the universe, what percentage of that knowledge do you think human beings hold? What is it? Way less than 1%.
Absolutely.
Way less than 1%.
Yes. And
so crazy that we're like our ego just hops in the driver's seat
Yeah.
and is like, we know everything.
And what I'll say is, it's not that we don't have access or know more than that we don't know enough, or that we don't know a larger percentage. It's that we don't use the knowledge that we have in our daily life, because we have access to vast amounts of knowledge. We can tap into other energetic streams. We can tap into our eternal self. We have the entirety of the universe available to us when we want. It's that we don't use that knowledge that we have, even the knowledge that we're given in our own little bodies about a situation, or what it would be a better choice for us at a given moment for our safety or for an outcome that we really want. We don't make those decisions all the time because we're not listening to that energetic vibration that's inside of us as much as we should be.
So crazy.
So,
well, I'll be curious about this reading then, because it sounds like losing your way is really directly linked to like that disconnection of self.
I get asked quite frequently questions related to losing your way. How do I know I'm on my path? How do I know I'm doing the right thing? How do I know I'm heading in the right direction? How do I know that this choice is what I should be doing with my life? And it's actually a problem, a question, a situation that happens with a lot of people. You reach a certain level. I just experienced this past week where I've been handling things really well in my work and my life and my family and my social stuff and friends and issues. A lot has been piled on my plate these past few months, and I feel like I've reached a balance with it. And then it was like, oh no, you aren't doing enough here, and you aren't doing enough here. And I was like, wait a minute, I was feeling so good. How could I be so off track? And so that process, even though I know that that's not the right question, it was more like, it's just about me trying to reorient and go, okay, let that go. Again, that physical side, that contrast side, that value-based side of you're not doing it right. You're not doing it well enough. You're not doing it in a way that you think you are. You're not good enough to know, or you didn't perceive it in the right way. All of those questions that are really about, am I losing my way? Am I off track? And I think it's a really pervasive thought. It's a pervasive perception that humans have.
Yeah. Oh man. I can't even speak. I mean, I know that feeling of oh, finally. And then what happens is then the next time that happens, then you're waiting for the shoe to drop again. And it's a vicious cycle.
Yeah. So,
the human experience.
So pleasant. No work involved whatsoever. So this, again, we're talking about ways to reduce conflict, and it's interesting because my mind logically, I don't immediately understand why losing your way, that topic would lead to less conflict, but I know it's in there somewhere because they wouldn't have brought it up otherwise. So let's jump in.
Yeah, let's read it.
Okay, put my glasses on. All right. Here we go. Losing your way from the Council of Light. We welcome you back to our presence and energy field as participants in the process of understanding yourself and the greater physical plane upon which you have been placed. We want to engage with you on these concepts for your greater understanding and acknowledgement and growth, so you may have an existence that is easier and lighter. You were not brought here to suffer. You are not meant to plod through your life, taking all situations with the utmost seriousness and import. If you do not achieve your goal, simply move on to the next choice and experience something new and learn from it too. Listen when we say to you that the challenge of your life is to balance and recognize that the pain and struggle that you feel is unique to you and only needs to be as uncomfortable as you are able to release the expectation and understand what the universe is asking from you. The tighter your grip on your beliefs and expectations of your life and every situation, the more challenging and cumbersome your life experience will seem. We say these truths to you not for you to feel inadequate, but to help you loosen your grip on the unconscious expectations you have about your life experience and path.
Okay, I gotta jump in with a quick question. So do you think this is saying the discomfort and the pain that we feel is sort of like a message from the universe to pause and reflect, and the deeper that discomfort, like the more they're really trying to push you down a different path?
Not a different path.
A different choice?
Not a different choice.
Okay, help me understand it better then.
The tighter you are holding on to an expectation, to a belief, to an idea that your life should be a certain way, should involve a certain outcome, the more pain you're going to experience when it doesn't happen the way you have planned.
Okay.
And so the harder you're gripping on to your expectation and belief, the more difficult it is to be as it's ripped away from you. If you have a loose grip, that idea can be pulled right out of your hand. No struggle.
It's like when people talk about, they're like in a, I'm sure everyone's experienced different degrees of like state of flow.
Mm-hmm.
You're not holding on to anything when you're in that state.
Right.
Just the word flow is about the antithesis. I mean, it couldn't be even more opposite than
Right.
grasping on.
Yes. And so they repeat that, if you listen to the previous channels, it's that same message is repeated. Loosen your grip. We want you to loosen your grip. And it's not about letting go completely. It's about creating the option for other possibilities. So rather than narrow down to one outcome, one result, you can go, well, maybe something else can happen. Or maybe this is something else. There's another reason this is happening. Maybe it's not just that this person hates me. Maybe it's not that I'm not good at everything. Maybe it's something, maybe there's another thing in there. There's possibility. And that possibility means you go from a grip that's a 10 out of 10 to a 9.7 out of 10. And that loosening makes loss of unachieved expectations easy.
Which therefore
Easier.
Less suffering.
Yes.
Okay.
We say these truths to you not for you to feel inadequate, but to help you loosen your grip on the unconscious expectations you have about your life experience and path. We wish to communicate to you that the information that we present here is deep and foundational to understanding your human experience. There is much information to share. There is much to know, process, and incorporate into your life. Our expectation is that you will not retain all of the information fully or be able to recite the information as a plan to lead to a perfect, worry-free life. It is our hope and knowing that you will hear one phrase, one idea, and let that idea steep into your energetic sphere. This one idea will create a new possibility of understanding. It will lessen the burden by improving your understanding through creating expansion of possibilities. We ask that this be your goal. Listen to hear the concept that reverberates with you, that eases your understanding and feeling of responsibility.
You want to reread that?
That one really hits me this week. Listen to hear the concept that reverberates with you, that eases your understanding and feeling of responsibility. Let that loosening bring you joy and satisfaction. You are here to experience all. I don't know if I want to comment on that. It's just funny that they're like, Hey, you don't need to understand everything in its entirety, but you're going to listen. You're going to hear one sentence, one phrase, one idea, and that's going to be what helps you loosen your grip. And there was that one sentence that was really what did it for me.
Right before we started this, you're like, I just want to be able to kind of lean in and enjoy and let go. And
Yes.
I said, what did I say to you?
You said, oh, well, maybe the channel, you'll do that. And it's true. And this week I have been feeling a tremendous burden of responsibility, balancing many, many, many different aspects of my life in one tiny brain. And it's been, and I've been struggling with the idea of responsibility and being responsible for everybody's outcome. Yeah, there you go. All right. Moving
Our
on.
work here is done today.
Moving on. Let us help you in this way. Imagine a key and its corresponding lock. Each key is created specifically to unlock a specific lock. Some keys may fit into a keyhole, but it will not turn to unlock the mechanism. This is a good representation of your life here and what you are being asked to do. You are a unique key. You are asked to identify within your unique grooves and design. Once you know this, you can more easily recognize the lock that you can open. You may fit into other locks, but you won't be able to turn and open the lock unless it is your unique, specific lock. This analogy is the one we use to describe the discovery of your life, your path. Your unique lock opens to satisfaction and ease. It unlocks joy and peace.
You know what I think about when I hear that? I think about the human condition, at least in my experience. I don't know if I feel like when I sit with this, I can really just admit to it. I think sometimes humans are just afraid of ease. It's like we're conditioned to things are hard, that things are bad, that things are this. And sometimes they are, but you get so in the rhythm of that expectation that it's like we almost can't even welcome joy and ease and peace.
I think I've said this before, but when I was married and I was really struggling, not only was it reverberated from like my peers, other people I would talk to that were married. Oh, it's hard, and they didn't do this, and blah, 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 and you can't sleep, and the kids, but like even people older than me, like in my parents' generation, would always say, "This is the hardest part of your life. It doesn't get harder than this. Small kids, business, marriage, it's all hard. Work, work, work. It's all just hard, hard, hard." And I honestly didn't believe that there was supposed to be ease and joy and happiness in those moments.
That's what I mean. We're not conditioned to even receive ease and peace and joy. And the kind of
that it doesn't have a value.
And that the kind of joy that we experience is like the Hallmark joy. That's not joy.
What do you mean by Hallmark joy?
Like the fake kind. Do you know what I mean? Like this plus this equals joy and happiness.
Oh.
I'm like, maybe not.
Maybe for you.
Yeah.
Or maybe for someone, or maybe these ideals.
It's interesting to me. We're just like, so as human beings in the current phase of human development, we're like not really taught that like life, that like ease and joy and peace and less suffering are actually indications from the universe that
things are going right.
That you're like on your path. We're kind of taught that it's hard. If I have one more person look at me and say, startup life is really hard, I just am like, for you, and yeah, it can be.
It's challenging.
I try not to lean into that every single day.
Well, right. It's challenging, but there's a lot of things that are challenging, but that doesn't mean it's hard.
It's just weird. It's beliefs are so powerful. I
Mhm.
think that's what that I'm trying to say is beliefs are just so powerful.
Okay. Kind of like this analogy.
The lock and the key.
Mhm. You may find that you can fit into another lock, one that is not yours, but it will not unlock your true ease and satisfaction, for it is another's lock. Do you understand? Here is the lesson for understanding. You are capable of deep satisfaction. You are capable of ease in your life. The secret is accepting and acknowledging that you may be in the wrong lock. Understand, too, that you may only be in the wrong lock in certain aspects of your life: job, partner, relationships, location. This scenario may sound like you are off your path, but this is not the case. In this scenario, you are still able to feel connection and experience communion. You are still learning and processing what feels right, satisfying, and peaceful. This is not an end game scenario. There is always the chance for recognizing and choosing what feels more satisfying. That opportunity never goes away from your human experience. And so it's funny because, like, when I was just talking about how is this going to lead to like conflict? Well, of course, you're not going to be a satisfied person if you are plugged into a different lock because that's what your parents told you to do, or society tells you to do, or what your clues about what means success or what means right. And you're plugged into that lock and you can't turn it. It's not going to unlock those things to you because that is not your lock. And how frustrating of an existence is that? I can speak from experience. It's incredibly frustrating. I was incredibly angry. I was incredibly short-tempered. I was at one unhappy camper.
I know I knew you during that time. You were not you.
I couldn't
And then
reach these levels of satisfaction that I have now.
No, you couldn't. You were not you.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Hear us when we describe that most humans feel they are off their path when they are working toward a specific goal, a named and identifiable target. You state your goal as being successful in a defined way, or your goal is to buy a specific house, and you must follow a path to that specific target. This is not the path we are referring to. We mean to describe your life's path. But let us stay on the topic of a goal-reaching path, as many of you experience this and are frustrated to not meet your goal and feel that the path or decisions made on this journey to it are wrong or are mistakes. We encourage you to view your journey to your goal and the way to feel toward how you want to feel when you reach your goal. Let us say that you desire a specific house and are performing all the steps to attain it. When you do not attain that specific house, there are feelings of disappointment, failure, hopelessness. These feelings are understandable and human. Instead, we encourage you to pay attention to the emotions behind the tangible goal that you have created in the first place. Likely the feelings that you would have had in choosing the goal of that specific house would be achievement, satisfaction, safety, pride, and any number of other emotions. These are the valuable goals to pay attention to, where if you were to achieve these emotional states and have a different house, would the specific house matter? Do you understand? Ooh, chills. The deeper understanding of your inner feelings of satisfaction should be the area of focus. This is why you may not achieve the end result that you desire, for your chosen end result would not have carried those feelings for you if you were to achieve the chosen goal. Your emotional satisfaction and communion with yourself is the ultimate goal. The information you gather along the way is all part of the process and journey. You are not off your path. You are just paying attention to the objects along the path instead of the path itself.
You know what's so funny about this is my partner in the past, not anymore because I finally said stop doing this, has always been like, well, we need to, what's the goal for this business? What's the goal? And I've always been like, yeah, I'm not going to determine that. And like everyone in the business world is like, she's dumb. And I'm
you
like,
can't achieve anything unless you know what you're trying to achieve.
and I'm like, that is not what I feel called to do. I feel called to set an intention and then listen for how that unfolds and follow those paths. So for me to think that I have this godlike complex to know what the actual end result is wild to me. And I think it's an illusion. And I said to him, you can have your laminated gold chart. I'm not participating because it's limiting for me when I have a goal in this business. It limits me.
Yeah. And I think the powerful thing here for me is if you stick with the house analogy, I get the house that I want. If I get the house that I want, I'm going to feel happy and satisfied and proud. And
You won't, but yes.
And if I paid attention to those feelings only, the house I end up with is not going to matter because I'm going to be happy, proud with anything. And if that is what I want to feel, does it matter what the house is?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't at all.
And so they're like, well, stop paying attention to that specific thing and pay attention to the feelings that you want to have. Pay attention to the feelings that you want to have. That is going to be a better guide.
You know what's interesting about the house analogy is you know this about me, but I did have to sell a house that I had that was very special to me.
Yes.
I built it from the ground up.
Yeah.
I actually had claimed it as my own. No one was really allowed over there. It was my space.
Yeah.
And I made a choice to sell it so that I could fund my business because I felt called to do that. And the amount of like, oh my God, are you okay? I was like, my feelings of self-satisfaction and love and flow and yeah, there were challenging things that came with that. I cried a lot about it. But those feelings weren't taken from me when the house was sold. I'm still got to be me. And if I would have attached all of those inside things that I covet for myself, I would have sold those parts away too. And I got to remain intact throughout that process, even though there were hard parts in it. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Because nothing of my self-satisfaction in my life was attached to that home.
Because
my husband could not believe when I said, I'm selling this.
And
he couldn't believe it. And I said, but I'm not the feelings of who I am and what brings me the most satisfaction in life are not leaving with that sale of that house.
Exactly. And it's not a failure.
People would message me, I saw your house for sale. Are you okay? I've never been better, actually.
Yeah.
I literally have never fucking been better.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that I didn't have hard moments with that. But it's like the same concept when people come into my community, you know, that I have in my, they're like, well, I want to lose weight, then I'll feel better. I'm like, trust me, you won't. Let's work on feeling good right now.
Yeah.
Because it won't matter if you lose the weight. It won't matter if you get the house, if you sell the house, if you do this. All of those things are just details. And they actually don't, if you do have that connection with self, what I'm learning about myself is those things actually have no impact.
And if you don't get the house, you don't lose the weight, then you go, I'm not on the path. I'm not on my right path. But that's not the path.
But isn't it so funny that from the outside in, people think that I just took a step backwards?
Yes.
But I actually feel like I took a step forward.
Yeah.
So wild to me.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's so powerful, the power in all this work, James, is beyond any physical thing that we can have on this planet.
Yeah. And carrying with you that satisfaction, because the satisfaction exists inside of you, can never be taken away.
Can never be. That's real safety right there.
Right.
You want to talk about safety? That's fucking safety.
Right. And so it doesn't matter what you have or don't have. Your ability to be satisfied is internal. It doesn't matter where you end up.
Yeah, when people would ask me, I'm like, I would tell them my ego's upset. My ego's taking a pretty big hit right now. But I'm okay.
Yeah.
I almost had this visualization of petting my ego. Like, you're still safe. This is really hard for you. But you're okay. So crazy.
Crazy. Okay. The understanding of being on your life path has a few components that humans typically misunderstand. The first is to understand that your path is about greater communion with yourself, your highest self. You are on a never-ending discovery of this. Each new experience provides the opportunity for learning about who you are and a greater understanding of that connection. Therefore, you cannot be off your path. Each choice that you make provides the opportunity for you to move closer to that understanding or farther away from that understanding. If you choose to move away from that connection, the energetic support system will then provide more chances for choice and greater understanding. These opportunities come in the form of dissatisfaction and comparison to what is satisfying. Are you listening? Are you paying attention? The root guidance is constantly shifting to bring you the quickest path to connection and communion. And I really like this analogy because they've been saying this to me forever, ever since I've started talking to them. There's no such thing as being off your path. It doesn't exist. You only have a path. And your destination is your highest self, your soul, the connection to your highest self. That's your path. Recognizing it, following it, letting it be your lighthouse, letting it call you home. That is what we're here to do. That is your path. And you're given choices and you can go, I'm going to go towards the lighthouse, or I'm going to turn a little bit different than the lighthouse. Mm-hmm. That's your choice. You get that choice. But then the whole root guidance system is going to be providing you information to get you to look and move more towards your lighthouse. It's going to recalculate, it's going to recalibrate, and it's going to give you more information. And so when we talked about before, like the universe is only giving you two things. They're either reinforcing the direction you're heading, or they're giving you the opportunity to correct it.
Over and over and over.
That's again. It. Two things.
Course correction or validation.
Yep. And it's all for you. It's never against you.
But you got to wake up and be ready to listen.
Yes.
I'm trying.
But
Give me another cup of coffee.
I think it's really important to understand, because I think people really don't understand this concept. You are never off your path. You're still on it. Are you taking the scenic route or are you taking the direct route? And there's something else that they want me to talk about. I don't know if it'll come in now or let me keep going. Let me keep reading. It is good to encounter this world with the understanding that you are on a constant guided route to your best destination. We wish you to understand too that this path is uniquely yours and contains information and opportunities that are designed and understood solely by you. No one has insight into your path as you do. Likewise, you do not have insight or knowledge of another's path to their communion. You are a solo traveler on this path, but that does not mean alone. The companionships that you create and hold can assist you on your journey, but none have the ability to interfere. All paths are parallel to your own. No paths cross. The only time another can interfere with your path is if you are paying more attention to their path than your own. How long do you let these others on their own path distract you from your own? The amount of time and energy that is given to them is determined solely by you. We hope to impress upon you that you are here for satisfaction and learning. Understanding of yourself will lead to the unlocking of satisfaction, peace, and joy in your life. That lock belongs to no other. Let your mind identify with a concept and only linger on it as it provides ease and expansion of possibility and your understanding. We are here guiding you and for your ease.
Wow.
I want to talk a little bit more about the idea of all paths are parallel.
Yeah, please.
this is a concept that they told me when I was talking to someone asking me questions about, their partner or the person that they were with. I can't exactly remember the exact situation, but it had to do with a partnership, relationship, love relationship. And they said, they showed me this image almost like a bowling lane, that they're all next to each other and no paths are crossing. You know, we sometimes assign value to people in our lives that are aggressive or disruptive in a certain way. And we say, why is this person interfering so much in my life? Why can't this person just let me be? And they're very clear. That person's not doing anything. That person's living and moving along their path. You're stopping. You're paying attention. You're giving them all of the attention that's distracting you from your own. And we don't mean to describe this as an easy task. We don't mean to dismiss the feelings of frustration and anger and hurt that others can bring to your life. But they cannot disrupt your path. They do not have that power. You are the only person that has that power. You are the only person that can disrupt your path. Nobody else can.
There's a lot of power in that. It's hard. It's a hard reality, but there's a lot of power.
It is a hard reality, but it also makes things a little bit easier too at the same time in a weird way.
Yeah. Because it gives you all the power.
It gives you the power.
Yeah.
And it helps you understand that, oh God, this person isn't doing anything. I'm letting this person do this.
Remember when you said you weren't sure how this pertained to reducing conflict?
And I think too, recognizing that you don't have power or knowledge over another person's path is incredibly powerful as well. You have to respect their path. You have to allow them to experience their path because you can't have influence over it. You are not supposed to have influence over it. You are not supposed to be able to determine it. You can't walk it for them.
I was thinking and talking a lot this week about that concept of where your attention goes, your energy flows. And then I've been watching myself. Okay, this has been brought to your attention. Are you going to give it all your attention and have all the energy flow there? Or are you going to say, nope, that's all the attention that gets moving on? And most of the time, a lot of that is just like detaching with love. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like,
another super easy thing to do in the world.
Super easy. But like this Thanksgiving, I normally do all the hosting every year. And I said, I'm not available energetically for that this year. I'm going to have just dessert at my house and people can come if they want. And I think everyone was a little, okay, like not really know how to organize herself. And everyone had a very different reaction to it that ranged from flow all the way to resistance. And I told myself every kind of response that was coming in, I was like, you going to give attention to it? Or are you just going to smile and say, that's your path and your reaction, and I'm not going to give my attention to it because all the energy is going to flow to that if I do. And I just don't want to. That's the antithesis to the intention I had of Thanksgiving, which was to have some peace and ease and downtime. So if I then give all my energy to how people react to my boundary, then I'm actually not getting what I want at all.
Mm-hmm.
So people got to react how they wanted to react. And I watched myself in the beginning of it go down a rabbit hole.
Yep.
And then I said, get out of that fucking rabbit hole because you're not going to get what you want. What's your intention? My intention is to have peace, relaxation, and ease on Thanksgiving. Me participating in all the energy and dynamics and reactions and responses is taking me off my course of peace and ease and relaxation.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to let those people have how they're going to
feel. Have their moments.
Yeah, fine. Much easier said than done, though.
Yeah.
I definitely got way sucked down the rabbit hole in the beginning. But then I pulled out of the rabbit hole, and I have been just like, woohoo. I'm not stressed about Thanksgiving at all now.
And now, but I mean, it is hard to change that energetic pattern.
It's very hard.
Because that was a pattern that's been established and you've been living with and dealing with and a part of that dynamic with the people that you love and in your family. And the reason I'm bringing this up is that you're acknowledging that it's hard, but there is a lot more work and thought that an emotion that goes in behind it rather than it's not just snapping your fingers. And it's important to understand that that it is changing those dynamics, those energetic dynamics, the psychological patterns, the behavioral patterns is a very difficult, trying thing to do. But when you focus on the feelings you want to have outside of it or as a result of it, or you focus on the feelings rather than the goal, rather than the results, the goal is how you feel, then things will start to fall in place appropriately. And if you're speaking from that knowledgeable place of what you want to have happen, it's going to shift the dynamic slowly, but it will shift.
Well, because like I was watching myself have an unconscious belief that if everybody just replied with, okay, no problem, we'll see you at 5 for dessert only, that sounds great, that I would be okay. Well, first of all, that's not going to happen. Everyone, and some people didn't respond, some people ignored me, some people declined instantly, there was a wide range. I didn't chase people down. Do you see what I mean? It was like, I'm not going to wait for them to react the way that I want them to in order to cultivate the feeling that I'm trying to have. I'm going to go straight down my path.
Yeah.
And I didn't at first. I started to go down, oh, well, this person said this and then this. And then I went, no. You're not getting what you want when you do that because no one's going to react the way you want them to.
And a lot of those reactions, whether consciously or unconsciously, are meant to pull you back into the typical behavior pattern.
Patterns are rough.
Patterns are rough.
Because I think that the only way to break them is to have 110% ownership of the pattern. That's the only way.
Your participation in it.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's hard. It sucks.
Miserable.
On that note, happy holidays, everyone. Just kidding.
So there you go. There's losing your path, losing your way, which you can't really do. You can't do. There's no such thing. You're constantly being provided with the opportunity to make a choice. That choice never goes away. You're never on anyone else's path. You're only on yours. And nobody's on yours. There you go.
Crazy. Well, thanks for that one. That was a good one.
Absolutely. Everyone out there, don't forget to reach out. Get in touch with us. Drop us a DM. james@thespiritedbody.com for email or @thespiritedbody on Instagram. Send me a message. Let me know your stories. Let me know how this information is landing. We'd love to hear from you.
See you next time, everyone.
Bye.